Speaking of things that are good for the garden, there's mushrooms. It's early March and we're in the upper part of the garden with some of the garlic, and we have some mushrooms fruiting, and it's wine caps, or Stropharia rugosoannulata, I believe is how you say that. And we're just going to take a look at some up close features real quick. It's always got a very robust mycelium. A lot going on down here, and it swells a bit at the bottom, and then it's a gill mushroom. The cap starts out a burgundy color, reddish brown, and then it will eventually get sun-dried, kind of sun-faded. And so if you look at those, it has purple gills, and this one's really deteriorated, so we're gonna save that for later. We'll look at this one again, really deteriorated, but you can see that they do have a ring, and it splits up on the bottom side, kind of like spokes on a wheel or a gear, and that's going to be helpful. Here's one that's a little bit fresher. So let's do normally you see a very solid white creamy layer. These have been up for a while and look like maybe they have something nibbled on it or something like that, so they're a little spongy, but normally it's very solid white. I can actually feel that this has a hollow stem. I always, when you're picking a mushroom, you pinch the stem. If it's hollow, it's kind of something's gotten in there, or it's decomposing and it's kind of juicy already. So this is actually the stage that I'm picking most of these mushrooms at to consume. But as you can see, this one has a hollow stem, so I'm not going to eat it. About 20 feet over, where we have more mushrooms coming up, and they can also be called king Stropharia or garden giants. And this one's not huge, but it's quite large. The one thing that makes identification tricky is their ring will wash or fall away, and you'd want to be careful about certain gilled mushrooms that could be around. So we've had these wine caps a couple different ways. We've eaten them like every night for the past 3 nights, and fried in a quiche with eggs from our chickens, all sorts of different ways. So you can treat them like most of your small gilled mushrooms at this point. Yeah, I do brush them off, or if I'm going to cook them in something wet, I don't mind to go ahead and rinse them up, rinse them pretty good, or soak them, dunk them just real quick. But yeah, experiment with them. They're delicious. Really, one of the things that got me interested in wine caps is some of the studies that I saw on them, and one included the fact that it could filter E. coli and perhaps other harmful bacteria out of the soil. In other words, consumes it in some way. This was a study where mycelium-rich wood chips were placed in E. coli-rich water, of Stropharia, of king Stropharia. And after some number of hours, I believe, the E. coli count was almost completely reduced, almost non-existent. So this makes me think, if I bring compost in here, if I have animals coming in close by, then I have ways of not letting that contamination get out of hand. So maybe the wine caps are helping us there. The second study comes out, or that I've heard about, is that it could potentially consume nematodes in the soil, and we have all sorts of good things in the soil. Sure, maybe there's some things that don't benefit the particular vegetable plants we're trying to grow. So we're going to think that this mushroom can kind of control nematodes when needed, or consume those nematodes in the soil that we really don't know much about, or I don't anyway. So something more to look into. But yeah, it's a nematode zapping, soil filter and edible fungi.